Let's pick this up with Penny Naas, who's an international economic strategist at the German Marshall Fund. Welcome, Penny. So, got your calculator out, I'm guessing. We're still crunching the numbers, I would imagine. Where are you on this president's supposedly bold move? Will it be good for the United States?
Yeah, so I think that this president has cited many reasons for tariffs, and the question is, what are they actually trying to achieve? So they've wanted to rebalance U.S. trade. They've wanted to reshore U.S. manufacturing. He mentioned that it would raise trillions and trillions of tariffs revenue to help offset the income tax, and then it's also for leverage with regards to negotiations. So I think that tariffs are taxes that are added on top of whatever comes into the United States. It will ultimately be paid for by U.S. consumers and U.S. businesses who consume those imports. And so for me, it's not necessarily Liberation Day, but it's a day that I think we will certainly remember for its impact on the U.S. economy.
He talked about reciprocal taxes. This is a big part of today's announcement. To those of us who aren't international trade negotiators, it does sound peculiar that a country will impose, I don't know, 20% tax on US autos and expect America to pay that and not impose taxes on their own car exports. What is the justification for those sorts of things?
Yeah, so I think that the one thing for me that I have always been with reciprocal tariffs that I think is important to remember is that, for example, the U.S. does not necessarily charge a tariff on coffee. Brazil, however, charges a 9% tariff on coffee. So I'm not sure that it makes sense for the Americans to charge a reciprocal tariff of 9% on coffee when we don't actually make it. Then it becomes just purely a tax on consumers in the United States and is something that we're handing over to others the control of our tariffs. But I think what the president's trying to get at is he wants a level playing field. He wants that what others charge, we should be charging. And while that in theory makes sense, there are very good reasons for why we charge different tariffs on different things. And part of it has to do with what we're naturally endowed with in the United States and what we're not.
Okay. And so that's that. And can you see this working? Can you see this raising billions for the US Treasury and bringing jobs back to the United States?
Yeah, so I think that this is going to be we've seen some examples from President Trump's first term. So during President Trump's first term, he put in place tariffs on washing machines coming in from South Korea. And while it did increase jobs, it increased jobs by approximately 1,500 to 2,000 new jobs that were created because washing machines needed to be made in America due to the very high tariff walls that were put in place. We also saw that U.S. consumers paid an enormous amount of money. And in fact, each one of those jobs cost about $800,000 in additional prices that were paid by other Americans as a result. So, I mean, we are creating jobs potentially coming out of some of these tariff moves, but at a tremendous cost to the rest of the U.S. economy.
OK, so now everyone around the world, governments around the world will be, as I say, getting their calculators out and doing the sums, the EU, Canada, Mexico, deciding on how to respond. What is the argument for not retaliating in kind to these new US tariffs, as Mexico has indicated is likely to happen?
Yeah, I think the interesting thing that I took away from the press conference and from the chart on reciprocal tariffs was that neither Canada nor Mexico were cited on that chart. So they'll be getting the 10% baseline tariff that every country will get. Same with the UK. And I think both of those are three countries that have announced that they will not be retaliating immediately against the tariffs. And in part, I think that they're hoping that they'll be able to negotiate something with the Trump administration. And by holding off on retaliating, that they'll get a faster negotiation. I think other countries will show and retaliate. I was particularly surprised, frankly, to see the European Union only at 20%. Compared to some of the other figures that were out there, China at 34%, Vietnam at 46%. Those are, I think, quite high tariff rates that will be put in place and make it more challenging for those countries to trade with the United States moving forward. So I think that's the principal reason why people won't be retaliating. They'll be hoping that they can negotiate a new trade deal with the United States and thereby potentially opt themselves out of even the 10% baseline tariff moving forward.
OK, so this is not necessarily the end of this particular game. Doubtless we will speak again. Thank you so much for guiding us through this. Penny Naas from the German Marshall Fund. Thank you.
Thank you.